Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alec Reed. This is my channel, Alec Reads. Today we're reading Marriage, a Heartstopper fanfiction by heartstopper_fan22 on Wattpad. Today we are skipping chapter 17 because it is classified as a chapter that does not help with the plot, but it does have smut in it, and according to YouTube's guidelines, I can't read that on here, and I already have one channel taken down, so I'm trying really hard to be good. Anyway, so we're going to read chapter 18 today. It's finally packing. It's great. But anyway, also, if you ever hear me ticking in a video, please let me know, because I don't like having my ticks in a video, but I was recently made aware that I've had some ticks that got left in some videos, so let me know in the comments if you find any. But anyway, welcome friends, if you're new, or welcome back if you are not new here. If you are not new here, hello, nice to see you. I'm very excited to have you back. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave any recommendations in the comments, and let's jump right in. Chapter 18, Finally Packing. Nick's perspective. The hot sun was shining down on me. Then I opened my eyes and went to cuddle Char. My favorite part of the morning was ruffling his messy black hair and him cuddling tight against me. I turned over and noticed he was gone. Most mornings he would wake up beside me and cuddle me till I woke up. Then I heard scuffling coming from our closet. We had a walk-in closet, so I couldn't see him in there, but I could hear him in there. I called out, "Charlie, where's my morning cuddles?" Then he yells back, "You had your fun yesterday. I need to be an adult in this relationship and pack for our trip. That's in 2 days." I groaned back. I hated this trip ever since I came out as bisexual, and this was the most nervous I have ever felt about going because Charlie was coming this year. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want Charlie to come, it's that I don't want Charlie to be at risk of David and his new girlfriend bullying and harassing him. I've never met David's new girlfriend, but if she's anything like David, I didn't want to. I crept out of bed and onto the closet floor where Charlie was folding and organizing different outfits. I tapped his back and said, "Charlie, can I have a hug?" He turns his head around, stands up, and says, "Always, my big teddy bear." I pulled him in tight, then lifted him off the ground and brought him back to our bed. I rolled on top of him and said, "You're mine now, I'll cuddle you forever." He can't help himself from smiling, but he tried not to. He replies, "Nick, I love you, but I need to pack. Please let me go." I really didn't want him to go pack. Maybe if I stall him, we can forget about this awful trip forever. "Never," I say, while groaning. Charlie looked unimpressed, and just wiggled his way out of my grasp, and went back to the closet for one to pack more. I hadn't been getting much sleep since Charlie was in the hospital. Between that and the trip, I felt really irritated and angry at Charlie for being so obsessed and excited over this stupid trip. I just wanted him to spend time with me. He had been in the hospital for a few days, and now he was finally back, and I just wanted some cuddles with my boyfriend. And maybe I also was trying to distract him. Charlie's perspective. Nick was being super cute this morning, but I couldn't give in to him because if I didn't start packing now, it was never going to get done. Every time I try and pack or mention something about the trick, Nick acts weird or tries to distract me. After I wiggle out of Nick's grip, I go back into the closet and start to pack again, when I hear, "Charlie, I swear you care more about this trip than you care about me." I felt stunned. Nick never yells at me. Why was he yelling? I hated arguments, and I always felt small when someone would yell at me. My immediate response to this was crying. A few tears fell from my eyes. I wiped them away and walked over to our bed to talk to Nick. I said to him, That's not true. I love you more than anything in the world, he screamed. No, you don't. All you care about is this dumb trip. Nick, you know that's not true. I love you. Why are you saying this? Nick looks furious and yells, Just leave me alone. I felt so many emotions. Confusion, sadness, and most of all, guilt. But I didn't even know what I felt guilty for. Nick was making me feel uncomfortable, sad, and small. I hated being yelled at. I wasn't a confrontational person, so I never really knew how to speak up for myself. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, Nick, please stop yelling at me. Immediately after I said that, my eyes got wet and I couldn't hold myself back from sobbing. I turned away from him and ran to the bathroom, shutting and locking the door behind me. Nick's perspective. After I yelled at Charlie, he said, Please, Nick, stop yelling at me. I just realized what I had done. Oh my God, I was the worst. I made Charlie cry. Seeing Charlie cry was the worst thing in the world, but this was worse. I made him cry. He hates it when people yell at him. He's not a confrontational person, so he feels helpless. I made him feel that way. My heart broke when I saw him run away from me crying. I was supposed to be the person he ran to when he cries. Gosh, I'm a moron. I took my anger out on him. It wasn't his fault at all. He didn't do anything wrong. I ran over to the bathroom door and wiggled the doorknob, and it was locked. I said, Charlie, please let me in. He said softly, No, I'm scared. Him saying that made me feel like the biggest jerk ever and so much regret. Charlie, you know I would never hurt you. He quickly responded, I know, but you never yell at me, and it scares me. Why was I such an idiot? I should have never yelled at him. Charlie, I'm sorry. I will never yell at you again. Please let me in. I could hear the little doorknob click. Then I opened the door to see Charlie standing there, with his face all red and puffy. I stared into his red eyes and said, Charlie, I'm so sorry. I never should have yelled at you. Then I quickly hugged him. He whispered, Do you really believe those things you said? Do you think I don't care about you? I then started to cry. No, I'm just scared of my brother, and he's an asshole, and I just wanted him to say anything mean to you. Charlie said, Really? Is that why you've been avoiding packing? I replied, Yeah, that's the main reason, but also it just really hurts my feelings when my own brother says mean things about me. Charlie picks his head up off my shoulder and puts 2 hands on the side of my face. Nick, I'm sorry. I should have realized how hard this trip is for you. We shouldn't go. Charlie shouldn't be the one apologizing. I should be. I say in response, Charlie, you know you're not allowed to say sorry. Charlie pulls me in for a kiss. After a few seconds, he pulls away and says, Nick, I love you, and I don't like seeing you stressed like this. I think we should cancel. I smile and say, Why do you have to be so damn cute all the time? He blushes, then says, Nick, answer the question. I knew he was probably right about canceling, but my mom and Charlie would be so heartbroken. Plus, deep down inside, I really did want to go on holiday with Charlie. It would be our first one ever besides the school trip to Paris. It's okay, Char. We should go. I want to go with you. He smiles, and I just latch on to him then, whisper, Char, I am so sorry. I yelled at you, and I'll never do it again. He then rests his head on my shoulder, and we just hugged for a while. I held Charlie's hand and pulled him into the closet, and we finished packing together. Chapter 19. The Airport. 2 days later. Nick's perspective. "Good morning, my prince," Charlie says as we wake up. "Ugh, I'm so tired," I groaned. Then Charlie crawls into bed beside me with a platter of breakfast and all my favorites. Breakfast was my favorite meal of the day. I look towards him sitting up and say, "Baby, what's this for?" He replies, "Just a little something to cheer you up, because I know you've been struggling with this trip lately, and we do need to leave for the airport soon." My boyfriend was the sweetest person alive, and him wearing an apron with just his boxers underneath and his messy hair, not gonna lie, turned me on. Just dig in. I was so hungry, and everything looked so good. I almost always did the cooking, because if I didn't, Charlie wouldn't eat anything. He would probably prefer that, but of course that's not healthy, and I couldn't bear seeing him struggle with food. Anyways, I love cooking, but when I was younger, I learned a lot about French cuisine from my father, so I was pretty good at it. After having a few bites, I realized Charlie wasn't eating anything. "Charlie, why aren't you eating anything? You know breakfast is really important." He says, "I already ate while making breakfast." A few seconds after, he says that a frown takes over his face, and then he says in a disappointed tone, "No, I just lied. I didn't eat anything for breakfast. I shouldn't lie to you." I looked at him with a proud face. "Char, thank you for telling me the truth. We can share. I'll feed you." He laughs, and I feed him some waffles and a smoothie, and then we cuddle for a bit. Before Charlie's perspective. "Come on, Nick, we need to start putting our bags in the Jeep," I say. Then he says in his cute, tired voice, "5 more minutes of cuddles." Gosh, my boyfriend was irresistible. I give in. Plus, I know he probably needs extra cuddles right now. He's been having a hard time with this trip. He's been so stressed with this trip that he yelled at me the other night, and he never yells at me, so I knew for sure he was stressed to the max right now. After 10 minutes of cuddling, I get up and grab my suitcase, and as I was leaving the door, Nick runs up behind me, grabs my bag, and says, "Charlie, you were in the hospital 4 days ago. I'm definitely carrying both of our bags down to the Jeep, and after I'll come back up and carry you down to the Jeep." Oh my god, how could there be any more of a perfect boyfriend? He has always been super protective over me. I reply, "Babe, the doctor didn't say I couldn't walk or lift anything." He puts his finger on my lips and says, "Shh." Then he proceeds to load our stuff into the Jeep and comes back for me. I was thrown over his shoulder and carted down to the Jeep. We're both sitting in the Jeep before Nick started the car. I noticed his hands were shaking a bit and said, "Nick, do you want me to drive? You seem a bit anxious." His face goes sharp and says, "No, I always drive." I reply, "Well, at least tell me what's gotten you so anxious. Is it David?" Then he says, "You're right. I am really anxious about the plane." I should have realized that. Nick was super claustrophobic and hated planes because of it. "Nick, I promise it will be okay. I'll be right by your side, and you can hold my hand the entire time." I then pulled his dirty blonde hair out of his face and kissed him on the cheek. "I love you, you know?" I say. He says yes as we drive towards the airport. We arrived at the airport, and Nick grabbed both our bags from the trunk and pulled them behind him. "You know I can pull my own suitcase," I say. He smirks and replies, "I know, but I'm still going to do it. I just nestled up as close as I could to tell to him while walking towards our gate. In the distance, I then spotted Nick's mom, David, and his new girlfriend. Nick stops walking and kisses me on the lips just quickly, then whispers, "Remember, anything anyone says will never change how much I love you." I smile at him and say, "Nick, your brother's comments are irrelevant to our relationship. Oh, and I love you too." We walk up to them, then David immediately says, "Charlie, we really got our little brother wrapped around your finger." He holds out his fist for a fist bump, and I most definitely ignored it. God, why did he have to be such a dick? Nick looked angry and embarrassed, and was about to say something. Nick's perspective. "David, can you please just shut the fuck up?" David quietly says, "Chill out, bro. No need to get your tits in a twist." Charlie was getting visibly upset and said in an annoying tone, "Can't you just keep your opinions to yourself?" I knew this wasn't going to end well. David laughed and said, "Wow there, tough guy." This made me so mad. Nobody talks to Charlie in a rude way when I'm around. I then pushed David and say, "Don't you fucking talk to my boyfriend like that." He was about to say something when his girlfriend grabs me and Charlie by the hands and leads us away from him. She says, "I'm so sorry, guys. He's acting like a total jerk. Oh, and my name is Izzy. Nice to meet you too." I say, "Hi. Wow, you seem nice. Nothing like my dick of a brother." Charlie and her both laugh at my remark. Charlie then says, "Hi, it's nice to meet you too." She giggles and says, "Charlie, you are just so adorable. I love your curly hair and blue eyes." Wow, that comment really caught me off guard. I hated it when other people commented Charlie. It made me super jealous. I looked over to Charlie and he was definitely embarrassed. His face was beet red. She then said, "I'm going to go talk to David about his behavior. Now, see you on the plane?" She then walked back in David's direction. I then look at Charlie. Well, she was nice. I'm surprised. She's dating David. Charlie looks at me and replied, "Yeah, she's nice. Maybe a tiny bit too nice." I laughed and pulled him in tight and said, "Well, she can back off because you're mine." We started walking back to our gate because it was time to get on board. I was nervous, but Charlie was holding my hand, and that made me feel a bit better. Alright, everyone, that is the end of today's episode. Next time, I will be reading another 2 chapters. So come back next time and tune in. Next time, we are reading chapter 20 called The Flight. And I am really hoping that you guys understand why I can't read certain episodes. But anyway, good night, good morning, or good afternoon, and goodbye, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. Anyway, bye, friends!